Tom Holland is a highlight of every movie he's a part of, even when things don't go as planned. These are the bloopers that prove he's just as charismatic when he's out of character. Superhero films have a lot of action, and while plenty of it may be computer-generated, there's still a lot the actors have to do themselves. With all the endless jumps, kicks, and flips required of a Spider-Man performance, there are bound to be a few times when an actor loses their balance. In Tom Holland's second Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man Far From Home, Holland's Peter Parker and Jake Gyllenhaal's Quentin Beck, aka Mysterio, battle against a monster called the Fire Elemental at a carnival in Prague. That heinous monster is later revealed to be a projection manipulated by Beck and his special effects team. But at the time, Peter doesn't know it. After faking a heroic sacrifice to defeat the monster, Beck lies on the ground, and Peter jumps down from the Ferris wheel to check on his unlikely companion. When filming one take of this scene, Holland's balancing skills proved a little less than graceful. Though he could have chosen to break character, Holland ultimately rolled with it and made his way over into Gyllenhaal's waiting arms. Tony Stark meant a lot to Peter Parker, and his grief over Stark's death in Avengers Endgame is a prominent emotional thread of Spider-Man Far From Home. A major moment comes when Peter gives the glasses that Stark bequeathed him to Beck, feeling unworthy to carry on the legacy of Iron Man.
It's my choice to make, okay? And I'm gonna make it. Look, you're a soldier, a leader. You stopped the elementals, you saved my life, you saved the world.
This heartbreaking plot beat showcases how Peter is struggling with his insecurities and pain after losing yet another father figure. But you wouldn't know any of that from watching the outtakes. Despite the scene being such an emotional moment, Holland couldn't keep from losing his composure take after take. After a few failed attempts and unable to keep from laughing, Holland finally asked the crew for a way out of his predicament.
Can you see my face?
No.
No, so I can smile.
Yeah, you can smile.
Of course, that didn't work. While the two actors workshopped the scene in a few different ways, each try ended with Holland in fits of laughter. So next time you watch that tear-jerking pub scene, just remember Holland was fighting back tears, just not from sadness. Since Spider-Man Far From Home is centered around Peter Parker and his classmates taking a field trip to another continent, it only makes sense that some of the movie had to be filmed on location in Europe. When shooting in Venice, Italy, it seems that the beautiful scenery may have been a little too breathtaking for the actors to keep their focus. Peter and Jacob Bartolon's Ned stood silently for a little bit longer than anticipated during a take, and Holland had to take the scene by the horns. Directed by Tom Holland has a pretty nice ring to it, wouldn't you say?
That's when you say your line, Jacob.
You say it first.
There you go. What's going on?
Is it me first?
A lot of strength training goes into being a Marvel star. As effortless as the actors and stunt performers make their abilities look on screen, a lot of intense preparation is needed for action stars to become world-famous superheroes. And sometimes it's still not enough. The tense climactic battle of Spider-Man Far From Home comes when Peter faces his fears and steps up to challenge Mysterio on the London Bridge. While Peter was challenging Beck's authority on the set, Holland challenged Gyllenhaal to something else, a push-up contest. The pair made it at least to 20, though Gyllenhaal tapped out. Spidey sense and arm strength? Tom Holland just keeps winning. Captain America Civil War had a lot of moving parts, including the MCU debuts for Chadwick Boseman's Black Panther and Tom Holland's Spider-Man. The first time we see Peter Parker in the MCU, Tony Stark makes a surprise visit to his apartment, chatting with Aunt May as Peter arrives home from school. The two have never met before. Stark is a popular billionaire superhero, and Peter is a high school student. Naturally, Peter is nervous, and it turns out Holland might have been as well.
I'm not Tony.
It's not like we can blame him, though. This is the first time audiences will see you as one of Marvel's most iconic superheroes, and your first scene is with the originator of the MCU itself? That's some serious pressure and a great responsibility. And speaking of responsibility, Tom Holland doesn't deal with every on-set mishap the same way. Sometimes he remains firmly in character, even while funny stuff unfolds around him. Other times, he breaks character on purpose for the sake of a joke to give the crew a laugh. This next blooper is an example of the latter. In 2017's Spider-Man Homecoming, Peter's school decathlon team is about to head to a tournament in Washington, D.C. Trying to find a way out of the commitment so he can take on more Spider-Man duties, he covers for his absence by saying he's in a Stark internship. On the set, Holland delivered his line with some added flair.
And my internship, I got a lot of responsibility with it. With great power comes great responsibility.
While that iconic Spidey line would eventually make its way into Holland's version of Spider-Man, it would have to wait 4 more years and a whole lot of trauma for it to become canon in the MCU. In every on-screen version of Peter Parker's story, Aunt May has been a parental figure to him. This, of course, is due to the absence of Peter's parents. Out of the 8 main live-action Spider-Man movies we've seen over the past 2 decades, Andrew Garfield's 2 amazing Spider-Man movies provided the most thorough backstory about what happened to Peter's mom and dad. Meanwhile, the Tom Holland trilogy doesn't mention them at all, and if they did, would probably assume the situation would be addressed with the seriousness it deserves. So it comes as somewhat of a shock for Holland to casually reference Peter's parents in the middle of a gruesome joke while filming Spider-Man Homecoming. When Peter arrives at an epic party hosted by Laura Harrier's character Liz, he remarks how cool it is that her parents let her throw such an amazing night. When filming, Holland fumbled through the scenes a few times, apparently having a hard time getting the line right. In one take, he found himself improvising a follow-up sentence.
My parents are dead.
Before they teamed up as Spider-Man and Doctor Strange in the MCU, Tom Holland and Benedict Cumberbatch starred together in The Current War, a historical drama about the dawn of electricity in the United States. Cumberbatch played the inventor of the light bulb himself, Thomas Edison, while Holland played Samuel Insull, one of Edison's business associates. While the audio is spotty, footage from an on-location shoot for the film shows Holland and Cumberbatch hug, while Holland appears to crack a joke. We might never know what built up to the punchline, but we're 100% positive it had to have been the world's funniest joke. It's hard to say if Holland and Cumberbatch knew while filming The Current War that they would soon share scenes in Avengers Infinity War and co-star together as main cast members in Spider-Man No Way Home. Nevertheless, they'd already made their MCU debuts by The Current War, and their established rapport as members of the Marvel family was pretty evident. As part of the promotional campaign for 2021 Spider-Man No Way Home, Holland and Bartolon filmed a Hyundai commercial as Peter Parker and Ned Leeds. There are many questions that go unanswered in this commercial, like why Peter is even there. But there were also some bloopers. When filming, after hopping in Ned's car, Peter asks a simple question, but the green screen shoot seems to have made him skip an important step.
What are we gonna do for 300 miles?
We're gonna put our seatbelts on.
Oh, that's right.
Whoops! Click it or ticket, Parker. There's a tense moment in 2018's Avengers Infinity War when Chris Pratt's Star-Lord grabs Spider-Man, pressing a blaster to his face. Having just arrived on Thanos' home planet, Titan, each character thinks the other is working for the big bad, instead of assuming they're all on the same team. Though this could have been a very suspenseful scene, it is ultimately played for laughs as the heroes entangle their confusion.
Yeah, I'll do you one better. Who's Gamora?
I'll do you one better. Why is Gamora?
And the filming had an even looser atmosphere than that.
Who are you guys?
This blooper is made even better because it's a reminder that Holland wore a motion capture suit anytime Peter Parker donned the Iron Spider armor. This allowed special effects artists the ability to bring Stark's nanotech to life in post-production by tracking Holland's movements with what was mapped by his suit. So the next time you watch Spider-Man swinging to battle on Titan, just imagine Tom Holland doing all of that in a grey onesie with triangles all over him. Arguably, one of the most epic moments of the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe comes in 2019's Avengers Endgame, as the largest group of Marvel superheroes ever gathers together to fight Thanos for the Infinity Gauntlet. Just before charging forward into battle, dozens of iconic characters, played by dozens of Hollywood's biggest movie stars, strike their dramatic poses. Many people can probably remember the chills they had in the moment when Captain America declares, for the first and so far only time in the MCU,
Avengers!
Assemble.
Considering how iconic this moment had to be, the actors knew they had to get it right. On set, as everyone took their marks, moments before the scene was shot, Pratt rallied everyone for their big moment.
Nobody pull a hamstring.
Yeah,
Warm your butt cheeks up. Warm up your butt cheeks.
While we could expect Holland to break into a fit of laughter, when a crew member called for everyone to get in position, he immediately locked into Peter Parker's game face faster than a Thanos snap. Impressive. Sometimes it's almost impossible to get a decent take when shooting a movie or television show. Whether it's the long hours, inside jokes, or both, sometimes everything is funny for no reason, and the actors can't get it together. That was certainly the case for Holland and Gyllenhaal at least once on the set of Spider-Man Far From Home. The scene in question is simple enough. Peter Parker meets Quentin Beck for the first time, and the two characters shake hands. Easy, right? Wrong. In the released blooper footage, Holland started a long string of flub takes by laughing, and only got worse when the director suggested a change.
I'll be a tiny bit closer.
Oh, God.
Not that far.
Come on.
Come back.
But in the next take, Gyllenhaal broke first, proving the laughter was infectious.
You just laughed
You
at
were
my
looking around
performance.
so far so you couldn't look at me, which made me laugh.
The attempt to get a usable take drifted so far that one had Holland and Gyllenhaal interlocking their arms while eating watermelon. The finished shot did manage to make it into the movie, blooper-free, so we know they eventually held it together long enough for a simple handshake. Sympathy to director John Watts for the unexpected hard time.